Salamat, Marie. Good afternoon, everyone. Now we're going to walk through what we're going to do in the next 5.5 days. So may I request everyone to please bring out the training guide and the training matrix from your envelopes. Kung wala pa po kayong kit, wala dyan. Pero kung may kit kayo at nakaregister na, it's there. Okay. I hope that we have been inspired well enough with the 2 videos and what Ma'am Lolit told us. Actually, Ma'am Lolit already stated the objectives for our trainers training. But to repeat, here are our 2 objectives. A concrete understanding of the K-12 program, specifically grade 8. We are now in grade 8. And to provide opportunities for all of us to acquire and demonstrate the values that will guide the teacher. Remember that you are the trainers and you will be the ones to train all the grade 8 teachers. You will handle specific learning areas in grade 8 during the mass training in your respective regions. So let's move on to day 0. It's preparing the ground, getting ready. So it's day 0, this is April 14. The first half day is of course arrival and settling down. And then 1:15 to 2, that should have been our opening program. We started late, but it's not too late yet. And then we had the overview of the basic education program. And later on, after this mechanics and house rules, we'll break out and go back to our own venues to discuss the implications for teaching and learning. Meron kayo nakikitang one line dun, this is action planning. Okay, so tomorrow, day 1 is April 15. We'll have our first session, which is with a resource person, and we shall all learn about facilitation skills. Because as a trainer, we need to have very good facilitation skills. After the input, we'll all again break out into our respective groups and discuss some modeling about facilitation skills. So why are we doing this? Again, I said, you're not a teacher this time when you will handle the mass training, but instead, as a trainer, you must be able to facilitate the sessions very well. And you will need, of course, good communication skills, problem-solving skills, as well as negotiation skills, among others. In the afternoon, we're now going to be more serious and try to look at our own learning areas. So we'll start understanding our own learning areas. And that is the curriculum. We look at the curriculum guide for our subject areas. Again, you see their action planning in the evening, and that's going to be by subject area and by region. So day 1 is over, and the afternoon is just an introduction to our own learning areas. Day 2 is all about learning standards. The first session, you will get to know the learning standards in your learning areas. But it's not just the learning standards for grade 8. We start with the learning area, with the standards for that learning area, and then we go into key stage learning standards. The key stage standards, the key stages rather are 1 to 3, 4 to 6, then 7 to 10. So you will get to look at the continuum from grade 1 until grade 10 of your learning area via the learning standards. After that, we now break down the learning standards into content and performance standards. So you will be looking at the content and learning standards of the learning area so that you can better understand what is going to be discussed or what are the topics in that learning area. In the afternoon, again, from the content standards, we know very well that they are sometimes very big chunks of knowledge or skills, and that we need to break them down into learning competencies. And that's your first workshop in the afternoon. It's breaking down or unpacking. The term that we use is unpacking the standards into learning competencies. And then in the afternoon, again, you will probably start asking, what are power standards? So from the content and performance standards, we'll now be able to identify what are the power standards in our own learning areas. Okay? The power standards are those things which we call the non-negotiables. The must teach and the must learn concepts or ideas of our own learning areas. So the whole day of day 2 is about standards. Okay, so now we go to day 3, wherein you will just do one thing for the whole day, and that's identifying critical content. Again, you will ask us, what is critical content? We all know that we have very poor performance in the NAT. And so we're trying to look at the content of grade 8 this time in our own learning areas and try to find out those content that we teachers find it difficult to teach. Diba meron yon? Diba meron tayong mga subject, mga topics na iniwasan na ituro? Yes. Meron din naman mga bata na nahihirapang aralin dahil si ma'am kung minsan, iba-iba yung tinuturo niya. Hindi siya sigurado sa tinuturo niya. So ito ngayon yung isang araw wherein we will look at the content. Ano yung hindi natin na ituturo dahil di siguro tayo major dun sa subject na yon. But as trainers, we did indicate in our requirements that you should be majors in the subject areas, no? Pero kahit ganon, major ka rin, sometimes may mga topics na hindi mo talaga maituro. So we look at these topics, try to share strategies, how to teach these topics, as well as how to assess that topic. So that's the whole day of day 3. Day 4 is also a whole day of doing and learning about assessment. Assessment for learning. Hindi lang siya assessment of learning, but it is assessment for learning as well. So in the first hour, there will be inputs. What are the core principles of assessment? Although we always make reference to DepEd Order number 73, wherein all the assessment strategies are there. There are also samples of assessment tools, in the various levels of proficiency. That's DepEd Order number 73. So from the second session in the morning until the afternoon is a workshop. It's trying our hands to develop. The first one will be tools, assessment tools, in the different levels of assessment. The second output for assessment will be performance tasks. And then the third output is going to be developing rubrics. So it's going to be a lot of workshop for this day. You will try your hand at developing rubrics, performance tasks, as well as assessment tools in your own subject areas, probably in 1 quarter. If not, you will be rotated so that you can look at the other quarters as well. On the home stretch of day 5. Day 5 na ba yun? Okay. May na-miss na day 5. Day 5 is actually, we have the first session, which is differentiated instructional planning. So it's looking at differentiation in the classroom for the various types of learners that we have. So after that input, we have a resource person on this day. The next one will be a walkthrough of the teacher's guide. So we will provide you with the teacher's guide in your own subject areas, and our specialist will conduct with you or walk with you through that teacher's guide from Q1 until Q3. And then after that, in the afternoon, again, it's working time. You will produce a sample instructional plan. So you will be asked to choose a topic and then produce an instructional plan. And then day 6, while we have stated their action planning, you would have noted that from day 1, we already have action planning in the early evenings. We would want our action planning to be developmental. And what does that mean? As we go through the week, let us try to think about how our own mass training programs will look like. Ma'am Lolit already said that you're not going to repeat our training design because this is for trainers. Your training will be for teachers. So on this morning rather, we will just ask 1 or 2 regions to present their regional mass training action plan or action plan for their mass training. It can be just in one learning area because by now we know that you have scheduled your mass training, but you don't have yet a design or a matrix for your mass training. So one of the outputs of the TOT will be the design for your mass training. Okay? So after that first half of the morning, we'll now go into integration, closure, and evaluation. Note that you already have responded to our pre-assessment for the training program. And if you have noted, all those topics are taken from the matrix. We'll also do that at post-test, and this afternoon, I think, this afternoon, or tomorrow during the modeling, you will do the pre-assessment for the subject area and the assessment, the self-assessment for facilitation skills. So that is our 6-day training program. And for the materials, okay, so what are our expectations of our participants? I always say that in any training program that you attend, you are always a learner. You come to learn so many things, and your schedule for 6 days is full. The second role is that of a resource person because there will be a lot of interactions, there will be a lot of sharing of experiences, there will be a lot of pairing, sharing, as well as probably learning from each other's experience, and thus you become a resource person. And because we have lots of outputs, then you become a producer. And those outputs, we will, although we should return them to you with our feedback, we will try that. We will do that actually, not only try, we will do that. Once you submit your outputs, then we will return them with our feedback and comments. So again, that is our 6-day training program. These are our expectations. And hope that you will always have in mind the teacher. the teacher that you will train during the mass training so that she or he will be able to deliver grade 8. The learning area in grade 8 very confidently and competently. So let's not try to isolate ourselves from the teachers that we shall be training. Our best interest should be on the teachers that we will be training during the mass training. So in closing, let us try to be the essential pieces in the lives of our teachers so that we can make a difference. Remember Sabrina, a very passionate and a very dedicated young teacher. Nawawala na ng idealism but is replaced by dedication and compassion. Good afternoon. Thank you very much.